Wow. What up, virgins? We live. I was just looking at IRL Linux memes. What up, Billy? Real Borger Town. Ooh, that would have been bad. So we're gonna look at some material on our favorite place, the Darknet Market Bible. I think it says onion. Wait. For some reason, there's a bookmark here. Bookmarks. Remember, guys, run your own bookmark server for optimal privacy and security. The OpSec Bible, our favorite place to look at stuff and read. I'm configuring Guix on the ThinkPad as I type this. Wow. Based, actually. Productivity. Hacking. The blog reference. However, recently found out there's just a honeypot. Currently, online anonymity, as we know it, is currently allowed by the U.S. government and its allies. A brand new darknet that will replace Tor and I2P, providing a bidirectional anonymity with a threat model fit for 2026 and onwards. Huh. The CBDBs are coming, and all the normies are not batting an eye. I think it will eventually. People will wake up. Remember, people didn't think that their phone was listening to them. It's really not, but I try to, when I have that conversation with people, I try not to be combative on certain technicalities because I think it pushes them away. I generally will correct it in a more normie way. I think this won't replace Tor and I. Yeah, I don't think so either. It doesn't say anything else. Okay, here we go. We'll read this. This is kind of interesting. Well, I mean, data. There are what do you call it? Data nodes that help like with security, but that's like a security thing. The CBDs are definitely going to come though. Simple to use. I2P is very simple and supports both TCP and UDP. Simple to use. Yeah, I mean it's a bit. Tor is 100% more easier to set up than I2P. If you want to really get technical, like it's just a browser. Whilst I2P is more of an extra step, but I don't think it's really that hard to set up personally. That's just again, reading documentation. And I mean, if you get confused about something, just ask. There's nothing wrong with people being like, I don't know what to do. There's tons of times where I don't know what to do because I'm retarded. And that's okay. I'm not ashamed of it. You don't know everything. You're not going to know everything. I still have to look through command list all the time to see, because there's lots of commands I don't use. I mean, that's what learning is. You are learning and relearning and learning and relearning and learning and relearning. You're going to. If anyone ever comes across this and they feel that like, hey, I'm being shamed for not learning, not learning a specific thing. I mean, that's okay. Fuck those people and just keep learning. There's tons of times where I just don't know how something works, and it might take me hours. Still learning directory. Yeah, for real. And the thing is, like, you're going to go through multiple levels of grief of like, I can't understand this, I'll never understand this. And there are things that you just never understand on a mathematical level. Like, I don't understand Monero on a mathematical level, but I know the math works because it's been explained to me in a very simplistic way to understand by smart people that do know how the math works. And if you stop because you don't understand something 100%, then I mean, why learn anything? I think you only have to understand something maybe like 40 to 50%. If you understand 40 to 50% and you can take the thing and explain it to someone who doesn't understand it, and they get to 40, 50%, and maybe they can understand 60 to 70% more than you, and they can turn to you and be like, hey, this is how you actually understand it. And then, I mean, it's just, I think people get too caught on being, I need to get 1% more understanding of this or whatever. I mean, it's just, I think true understanding of something is when you can take a very complex product while you're learning it, and you can explain it to someone who doesn't understand it on a technical level and make them understand it. Like, you miss 100% of the shots you don't have sex with? Yeah, true. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't put your cock in. This is what I've learned. Or whatever Neil Armstrong said. And the thing is too, like you can explain something at a fundamental level, even if you barely understand it, and make someone else understand it. You can't bait 100% of the rage if you don't post it on Twitter. True. I should start continue. I should continue my rage baiting. I actually want to find a way to. Where is it? Like, where is it? No. I wonder if it'll work. So, we're going to look at some, whatever the fuck this is. We're going to look at some Linux insecurities and why it does matter. And then we don't really talk about Tails and CubesOS enough on the channel. I think this is where I like to like explore like cubes and like how it works, and especially Tails. I think Tails is a very underrated thing, and I mean we kind of understand like how Tor works. Tor is a huge level of trust. And I think that there isn't. Okay. I got it. All right, guys, would you wear this? That's all I need to know. If I put this on a T-shirt with the homies, put it on, would they represent in public? I want to know how I would get this. I want to know if this would work on a screen transfer based poster. It would be I want to put this on a T-shirt though. I was gonna put Debian fuck System D. All my homies hate System D. But I think this will go. No one in the real world is gonna understand this unless they are like based in Linux supremacy. This would be um, I would only sell it for Monero though. I wouldn't take any other form of payment. No cash, no Bitcoin, no Lightning, just Monero. I would buy it and put it on a hot chick. Yeah, the ladies will love it. See, if you have a loved one and a woman in your life, it's just funny. I need to print and test it. I'm gonna do everything myself. I'm gonna do it off like my my t-shirt presser and like unfortunately my proprietary fucking dog shit fucking print. I don't want to outsource it. I don't want to add third parties. I would package it myself and everything. I wouldn't really know what a price would be, but I like it because it's kind of funny because it looks very wholesome, and then at the same time, it also I just need to print it and test it on the what's the word I'm looking for. I want to make sure it's not going to fade in like 2 weeks or something like that. I want to wear it for like 2 months or a month at least. I want to wash it a lot. I want to make sure because there's nothing more annoying than buying a T-shirt and it going fucking and it fading. I bought a T-shirt from I'm not going to say the company's name, but I bought a T-shirt for a crew neck from a company and it faded pretty fast and I was kind of pissed. I was kind of pissed because I like the company. And I didn't say anything to him because I don't want to be that guy. It's whatever. That's my decision. But I feel kind of like they picked a cheap way to put on the quality. And I know how to wash clothes, especially like if you buy anything black, you turn it inside out. And I know the settings like I understand undergarment and garment care. Especially when it gives you the fucking directions on the back, like on the fucking tag. And you can just search it. You can just Sear-X it, baby. I'm removing the word Google from my vocabulary. I'm going to say you can just Brave it or you can Sear-X it or you can fucking whatever, what other search engine. Let's start doing that. Let's stop saying just Google it. Let's remove proprietary words from our mouth. And I got to figure out like a size. I don't understand like graphics and stuff like that and printer settings. So it's going to be a work in progress. I have a couple. Let's start DuckDuckGoing to the GUIX manual for sure. Even though DuckDuckGo took Microsoft money and that was kind of lame of them. But after I get some information and I might give it to some people in around me or something like that, or figure it out in order to. Ooh. And have them like test wash it or something. But it would be super awesome and super based to see people buy it. And I would like to keep it. I'll probably set up a what's the word? An XMR Bazaar shop or something. And I will be doing I'm in the process right now of purchasing a lot of numbers and eSIMs. Because I think people always I do get a lot of questions that ask like how can I get an anonymous number? How can I get a inexpensive number to maybe use for XYZ? that would be very cool. So I'm looking for like the best ones and the ones that are the most consistent with accepting Monero and no KYC that have decent service. So far, Silent Link has been pretty base, but it's very expensive. It's like $100 right off rip, and I think it's a good product. I like it. I use it. I use it when I'm out of state, out of country. I haven't tested it. That's going to be coming soon because I have an entire year with it, so it's not really like something. I don't expect people to just have $100. So I'm trying to like hit, and that's just for like activation and a very small amount of data. Like I added extra money for data, and I try to be very conservative with it. So definitely one of those things that definitely one of those things that I think people like think about, and I should at some point do an updated video on my travels with Graphene OS, and eventually I gotten some good feedback from the Monero debit card that I'm using. So I think that I'm pretty confident I will do a review on it, because I think that it's, even though they do not have an Android app, and that is disappointing, and that knocks like a point off for me, like in just terms of like actual like until if they release one at some point, I will update my opinion about it. But they have an alternative that's pretty good when it comes to depositing Monero. I've had no problems with depositing. I've had no issues with them shorting money. I've had no rug pull. So I can pretty confident that it is a decent product. It's a good product for people that want to spend money in the real world with their Monero converted to fiat, unfortunately. But I think it's a good start to get people more accepting. It's just not a cheap thing to get into, and I'm not here to be your financial advisor, but it is a hefty price tag to get the card. It is still a hefty price tag because you have to you pay a percentage higher for the product to them to convert to Monero, and it is also taking trust into that the company will exist within the next year. The card lasts for a specific amount of time, and then you pay them a specific amount of money to issue a new card. So you are taking a risk for them to be around for the next possible couple years. And I think they will be. And they were actually very transparent with me when I was about to deposit some Monero. They advised me for a few things, and it was kind of a very good experience with their answer. And I was like, oh, thank you. Very based of you. Very cool. So like my other, like, I have some other negative thoughts about some other stuff that I think that should be done differently. But again, I don't own a business like in this realm. So I'm being kind of, I'm just looking at it from like my point of view. But I'm trying to be generous because I don't think that I don't think it's a bad product. It's a very good product. I've used it. I think it's a very good product, and it's very based, and it's very awesome. And there's like no affiliate with it. They're not like, I don't want people to think they're paying me to give an opinion about it. I just purchased it with, my money, and I just think that it's dangerous to talk about something. So it's just something that I like try to be very careful on stuff that I suggest, because I don't want people to think that I'm a billboard and I'm just selling my soul for clicks or whatever. It's just not cool, and it's kind of gay, and it's rightfully so to be skeptical, especially in the YouTube space and the Monero space, and I try to have like somewhat of a code of ethics when it comes to how I present stuff that I use. Like, it's pretty well known at this point that I use Tutanota. Tutanota I left to Tutanota for many reasons. I think Tutanota has a specific use case for me, and I think that they're great. I mean, Mullvad, same thing. Like, I have my personal reasons why I think Mullvad is a good VPN provider. That doesn't mean that, like, Proton is worse. That doesn't mean iVPN or, like, other VPNs are worse, except for Nord. Nord is probably the worst. But I do have, like, criticism of, like, other VPN providers. Like, Nim VPN is just very cringe to me. The guy seems very sus. He took, like, a lot of government funding, which is kind of gay. Like, everyone thinks that you need to take government grants to exist in this space. You do not. You could have done this like a million different ways. And again, I don't even need to own a business to know that. And I don't really see the need for it. I don't think they're doing anything different. The guy is just super cringe. He's also like a self-proclaimed anarchist. And if you are a self-proclaimed anarchist and you take government money, you are a fucking loser. Like, just no way I can even take you serious. I don't care if you say you're a cypherpunk or a super gay, like, fucking, like, crypto libertarian anarchist. If you take government money and you're a self-proclaimed anarchist and you think that the government sucks and you hate the structure of it now and you take these grants, you suck. You literally are the complete opposite of your beliefs, and that is very soulless to me. And I don't think that, again, they are doing anything different. Mullvad has a very good track record of running their servers in a very specific way that doesn't collect information. They accept Monero. There is no other good option because they are the best option. That's how capitalism works. If you have the best product, people are going to use it and recommend it. If you are cringe and gay, people should be able to call you cringe and gay. Like, it's silly. And I just don't even understand why people recommend it. Obscura VPN is kind of cool in theory. I think the fact that they partnered with Mullvad to make them exit nodes is kind of actually a cool thing, and it's pretty based because it doesn't rely on like one central authority, so you have like a way to mix your traffic. So I think as long as that they prove to be a relatively good, decent option out there, I don't really see them as like an issue. They're not trying to solve anything and say that they're any way in a different perspective, but they do have a good solution. They are taking the multi-hop theory and kind of like extending upon it by, you enter our node infrastructures and then you exit in Mullvads. That is a little bit more decentralized than other platforms. And if it actually pans out to be like a really good idea, then absolutely commend them. I think Obscura is a cool concept, but I just don't really necessarily have a need or a use for it. But I like that they are trying to do something different and actually stand out. iVPN, after listening to like their what do you call it? After listening to their their podcast, I think they're pretty rational people, and they have like a good they tell you what a VPN can and cannot do, and that's like pretty based of them. And they also kind of are pretty. They have a good like plan in case the government goes crazy, like over in Europe. Like they have a lot of good false safes. I don't really like that they bought Safing Portmaster, but whatever. They said instead of letting it die, they decided to take it on and expand upon it and improve upon it, and that's like kind of cool, but not really a fan of that. But they accept Monero, which is also pretty based. So that's like just my general perspective in the privacy space. Is we have too many shills, too many people that go out of their way to just become like soulless billboards where they're like affiliate link, sponsor, and it's kind of disheartening because I don't think people are doing this anymore for the love and the knowledge, and they are just doing it for the bag. And there's nothing wrong with making money in the industry, but when it's just money above everything else, I don't think you have principle. And if you don't have principle, then I don't think people should take you serious. I really need to get a soundboard that emphasizes me going into like a schizophrenic rant for about 10 minutes because I think I do I do this a lot. So if your wife is listening, tell him it's just some crazy guy on the internet that you enjoy listening to and that she should stop ruining your fun. But if you are a wife that is listening, then that is super based and cool. Cool. So we're gonna look at. I got a proper configuration now. Now, initting my GUIX. What is the init of choice? Hamburger. God, of all people to pick, that's pretty bad. The innocent goose is system is GNU. Oh, GNU Shepherd. Isn't GNU Shepherd just not working now? GNU Shepherd when? Okay, so we're going to look at something called Datra Network Specifications, a draft, the threat model. The threat model landscape that is scoped spans the following of three categories. Now, we understand what Tor is, what Tor can and cannot do, what I2P is, what I2P can and cannot do, what Tails does, what Tails is and cannot do. And then, in a perfect vacuum, we understand that a lot of these anonymous quote-unquote networks cannot protect you when your OPSEC is bad. If your OPSEC is bad, excuse me, if your OPSEC is bad, and if the way you operate on the internet is bad, then you are taking a risk. It doesn't matter what tools you have of exposing your identity to the internet when you want it to remain private. Now, obviously, pure anonymity doesn't exist. If the government and or a nation state or a very experienced and persistent hacker is that good, they will find you. This is just very easy to understand. Are there ways to make this absolutely zero? No, because you're human. Humans make mistakes, but this would have to be crackhead level form of crackhead level perspective. If you take the proper procedures, finding you becomes either very difficult, if not mostly impossible. If you want to keep your anonymity and you want to cover your tracks, you can definitely do that. But anything claiming 100% anonymous, I don't even really think that word is relatively easy to obtain. Making sure you're very secluded, very branched off, secluded, siloed on the internet is a very difficult task, if not impossible. You're going to make a mistake. The way you type, you might get phished, hacked, whatever. There's too many possibilities. You have to find your threat model and adjust accordingly. Now, to stay private on the internet, that's completely possible. Anonymity and private or anonymous, they're very different words. They have very different meanings, and they have very different outcomes. And you have to have a realistic expectation. CubesOS or Hunix? CubesOS with Unix. But if I had to pick one, CubesOS. CubesOS offers better site isolation. The fact that it separates all your distributions in a VM and not a container, but it's a virtual machine. You can run it. Yes, we know you can run Unix in CubesOS, but what I'm saying is, if I had to pick between, for sure, but if I had to pick between CubesOS or Hunix, out of all of them, I would 100% pick CubesOS over Hunix. Because if no Hunix was an option in CubesOS or Hunix, I would pick I think that's what they're asking. I'm assuming that's what they're asking. That's impressive. I like that. Yeah, you can run Hunix in CubesOS, but if it was down like what I had to choose and it wasn't possible to run Hunix inside CubesOS, I would run CubesOS. CubesOS is siloed. Because it's siloed, it offers better sandboxing. Both of them are virtual machines and they're separated, and they both offer very strong security, especially through VM isolation, because VMs are far more superior than like containers. And I mean, you can go into the whole container thing. CubesOS RAM heavy? Not really. You can definitely run it with the minimum. That would be CubesOS or Hunix, one or the other. CubesOS or Hunix. The other, CubesOS or Hunix or both, mean you can do both. Motherfucker said or. Fuck you. You don't gotta put X in front of or to understand there's a difference between you. Billy's just Billy's from Turkey, so he doesn't understand English. Pardon him. No one in history has used X or. Zero. This is why I know you're from Turkey. Zero people. When you are writing on the internet, when someone is writing on the internet, they're putting your mom. Wait, hold on. I fuck your mom. Or your dad. He made you have an autism episode? No one said... I'm just saying, if people are like, hey, I fuck your mom or your dad, they're meaning your mom, and or your dad. And in this case, it'll be your mom. No one's putting, I will fuck your mom, X, or your dad. No one. Or Logic Gate will put one if either or. There is no Logic Gate! Guys, this is pure Turkish behavior. True autism moment. So CubesOS is, you can do with the bare minimum. Like, obviously don't pick DDR3. Pick DDR4 or higher. And actually, hardware compatibility is the biggest limitation in Cubes. Billy triggered the Spectrum. For real. XOR Logic Gate will put one if inputs are different. Billy's just Turkish. That's it. That's all I can say to that. But if you, I'm rage baiting using Logic Gates. Logic. I don't even understand logic gates. It's just it doesn't seem like it's a real thing to me. Um, I don't use Logitech. I use Corsair, sir. But if you do want to use Cubes OS, it's not really the RAM. The minimum is there for a reason, and because you have like a bare minimum, that bare minimum needs to be met. Meaning 6 gigs of RAM. Obviously, more is better. But if you take the product and look at it from like you pull out like the bigger spectrum of it. Like you take the screen and you pull it out much deeper. You look at the bigger picture. You could say your more biggest barrier entry is compatibility hardware, and that compatibility hardware needs to be met. If you just go on the forums, you can see people like, hey, this works, hey, this doesn't work, hey, this works, doesn't this work. If you do that, you just want to make sure that you're not picking like DDR3, DDR4 and above. You're not picking like an older, like super older, outdated, like CPU architect, like CPU. You want enough cores. I would say go bare minimum 8 gigs of RAM for buffer. You can definitely get away with 6 or 7. I've gotten away with 6 gigs of RAM, and I would do nothing really less than an i7. An i7 would be, in a perfect world, would be like, that's what I had. I think an i7 or i5. I was using it, and I was running like a decent amount of VMs, like with that setup, and that's when I had like 8 gigs of RAM. Now I'm super rich and based, so like I have 64 gigs. I'm just kidding. But I have 64 gigs of RAM, so like it's much more nicer. I did cubes with 8 gigs on a Gen 5. Yeah, even a Gen 5. Look, 8th Gen i5, completely usable, very nice, very based. And then Billy found out he was gay, and he went back to Gen 2. So like there's definitely the RAM thing is something that people get stuck on. Don't let that deter you. CubesOS is very usable with the bare minimum. The bare minimum is there for a reason. I think that's the people are like, my balls, and I'm like, well, the bare minimum is there for a reason. It exists. It's because it's the bare minimum to run the product. So you should probably understand that the bare minimum is there. And if you do, then you can. If you do, then you can be like, wow, based. I can use it. A cup holder for your laptop would be kind of based. And I even did CubesOS. When I got it working in a virtual machine, I got it to work a lot better. So let's go back to what this is. So the Doctrine Network specification is a draft. It's passive adversary threats, traffic correlation attacks. Global passive adversary GPA threats include multiple malicious internet service providers logging connections to perform a traffic correlation attack. This is a real threat when you get into CubesOS, when you get into Tor and when you get into the dark net. This is completely possible. It has been done where they correlate you by owning thousands of, especially if it's government adversaries, but they have unlimited fuck you money, where they own thousands and thousands and thousands of node operators and Tor nodes, this is a problem. Tor kind of solves this because I believe every 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, the Tor circuits pick new circuits, if I remember correctly. They pick random nodes. They re-pick them, like this right here, right there. The Tor circuit. I think every 10 minutes it picks new ones. If I'm sure. I2P can obviously be attacked, as we figured out quite earlier this year. They were under attack, and there was tens of thousands of malicious routers, maybe hundreds if not thousands of malicious routers running in the wild. That is another threat that can be a concern, especially if it's government adversaries, and it can be a way to de-anonymize people. So, government coming out of their way to de-anonymize you because you're running a really lucrative, sexy business without a license, because that's a crime in their eyes. Boom. They will find you with your laptop and distract you. Memes aside, that's like pretty much what happens. Bad operational security leads to bad outcomes. If you're going to run something like this, your better option is to run it through Tails, not through Unix, but through Tails. Not on CubesOS, with Unix even, but through Tails. Because Tails achieves one of the highest levels of threat modeling that you can ask for. It is not perfect. Nothing is perfect. They explain in detail in bold text that it is not perfect. It is not possible to be perfect. But a combination of Buzzkill, Buskil, Buzzkill allows you to, I use it, it's great, take your Tails install, put it in there, and if it detaches, it automatically wipes it. The odds of someone be able to, of law enforcement be able to pull that off, where they can pull information from it, good fucking luck. Is it possible? For sure. Absolutely. Nothing's impossible. But what is possible is you getting caught and them keeping your laptop on the main screen and keeping it powered on and decrypting all your messages. The XMRP 8 coming soon. Is this a meme? I feel like this is a meme. Oh, like the pirate, like the Silk Road. What if I'm secretly everywhere and nowhere all at the same time? Well, it wouldn't be a secret. You can't be everywhere, secretly everywhere and nowhere. And you just said you were, so it's no longer a secret, and it's on the internet. Oh, like the Pirate Bay. I think piracy is going to take a massive. We're going to go back to like LimeWire days because of subscription costs being so high, and the people are going to want to not pay $15.99 a month for fucking 4K videos. And I mean, I'm a pretty big advocate for legalizing all drugs. I don't think drugs should be illegal. Big BT is better than LimeWire. I mean, yeah. Bigly BT, just a silly name though. And when you talk for downloading, heard it's better to market than XMR Bazaar. Let me look at this. Maybe one word. Do you have a link to their site or anything or any information? Because if you do, that'd be cool. I'd like to look at it. for downloading Linux isolates. I think there will be an influx of people that are tired of subscription fees, and they'll go to. I mean, most people use these sites. They use these sites where they just watch free stuff and get ads, and it's just a fucking nightmare. Because they're like, these sites suck, dude. Oh, it's not yet. It's just rumors. Oh, okay. Banned for fun, loser. We don't like rumors in this bitch. Interesting. I mean, XMR Bazaar is pretty based. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, it sounds cool. I want us to have. I want us to have like more of a relationship with people being able to sell stuff from Monero and buy stuff from Monero and keep it clean. I mean, I want there to be eBay. I want there to be like the eBay of stuff like this, of the eBay of like buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling. I mean, I have taken some risk on some. On some products, and so far I haven't been disappointed, which is pretty based. Yo, Sands! We know Sands, man. These motherfuckers know now. They have knowledge. If you have like an IT job, getting a Sands training is like, obviously don't pay for it, but if you get a Sands training, you're fucking goated. Oh, native dark mode, sexy. Website should enforce dark. We should get rid of light mode. Light mode is a cancer to the eyes. Dark mode is based. There's nothing good about light mode. I'm gonna have to get some pricing for that shirt though. I'm sorry, but Zen browser is terrible. Yo, Bitword and Password Manager exposed. Glad that didn't happen to me. Remember, guys, locally run your password manager with KeePass. Is it me, or am I the only person that hates when people put the microphone on their hat? It looks really gay. It actually looks kind of cringe. Shepard the based init system powered by GUI. What about powered by GNU? GUI is GNU Scheme. What about Scheme? What about Scheme GNU? I must grab another beer, guys. I will be back in 1 minute. Woo! What about Scheme Ghoul? Scheme Gnu. It's in my pocket. No, but for real, I do like the idea of. Okay. Competitive markets that will. I like the idea of having competitive markets. I mean, that's all it is. Huh. I need to make one of them intros and one of them things that make you see a thing while you're waiting. All right, for sure. Okay, Linux being secure is a common misconception in the security and privacy realm. Linux is thought to be secure primarily because of its source model, popular usage in servers, and small user base, and confusion about its security features. This article is intended to debunk these security mechanisms. Traditional application security model on desktop operating systems give an executed application complete access to all data within the same user account. This is a problem across the Linux user space. It is not good. Just to keep in mind. Oh wait, we didn't even finish this shit. See, I'm retarded. I got off track. We'll get back to this while we focus on this. I need to lock in, guys. My autism kicked in. There we go. All right, cool. Sorry, I was reading. Something else. So, the global passive average rate can correlate the two by looking at the bandwidth usage of either node from the ISP POV. Then it can be determined that hidden service is on node B. Sent 100 gigs, received 50 gigs. Sent 50 gigs, received 100 gigs. Hidden service node B. Datura NIT malicious client node A. Datura network hidden service. The malicious client node A knows that it sent 100 gigs to hidden service node B and that it received 50 gigs from them. Therefore, node B can't be the only one to receive 100 gigs and send 50 gigs of data. We need a decoded destination. If the global passive adversary can correlate the two by looking at the bandwidth usage, either node, this is technically possible. The likelihood is probably relatively low. There's probably other like correlation attacks that they could figure out. If the global passive adversary can correlate the two by looking at the bandwidth usage of either node, the ISP POV, then it could determine that the client A is now node on node A. Send 100 gigs, receive 50, Datura network, send 50, received 100. Therefore, node A can't be the only one that sends 100 gigs and receives 50 gigs a day. We need a decoy source. The malicious hidden service node B knows that it sent 50 gigs and that it received 100, even though they can't know which client could have sent it. The shape of the traffic size of the packets, and especially the amount of data being sent or received, the timing at which the packet is sent, the destination of where the package is going, they're all characteristics of the adversary and can use to de-anonymize users based on their internet traffic patterns. This is possible. Obviously, this is for high threat models and people that matter. I wouldn't say matter any more than anyone else, but definitely are a thought. And I would say, it's one of those things that that not that does this matter, but does this matter? But like, why does this matter to me? Is it kind of like, is it an issue? Is it actually an issue? Oh well, based. That's the beauty of the internet. You just be looking. Okay, so like active adversary threats, the Sobel attack. If the adversary controls all the nodes, in theory, all they need to do is watch what goes in and out to be able to determine the real location of every hidden surface. They just need to keep making requests to the same hidden service over a long stretch of time, logging all that goes in and out of the network, and especially looking at the shape and the timing of traffic both ends to be able to have a very high likelihood of finding the location of the hidden service. This is a problem. This is a current problem. Monero kind of they kind of like had this issue, and so has I2P and other networks in between. This is a issue, but it can be solved. Run your own node. Make sure that you are not using the same, like Tails OS kind of answers to this. Don't use Tails for 2 tasks. Use it for 1. Shut it down and then recreate. Obviously, with enough resources and time, anyone can kind of figure out who you are on the internet. But there are many, many things you can do to poison the well. If you poison the well, you are a lot safer than the average user. And active adversary threats, for example, a malicious administrator running a node for the network, except that the software is being ran has been customized to log every connection from the source to destination to the amount of traffic transitioning through the malicious nodes. The active adversary tries to run as many nodes as possible on the network and try to ensure that the clients pick their nodes for the entire connection of circuits. And if they do so, that means the adversary is able to log the connection of those clients, and that only picked nodes are as hops by looking at what goes in their nodes and what exits their nodes. They can tell the client communication server A to B. Disruptive adversary DDoS attack, .your network, hidden service, client A, .your network, hidden service, etc., etc. The nodes IP are publicly listed in a repository directory. Wow, this is a lot of thinking. We might come back to the thinking because it seems like it's one of those things that is still in theory, and in theory doesn't work for me. Gonna look at tails. Okay, we're gonna look at how Tails works. Leave no trace on the computer. You can produce the computer anywhere. You can kind of do this in a sense with Linux. Oopsie. So your secure a computer anywhere. Tails uses a shutdown to the computer and starts your Tails USB stick instead of starting Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. Tails is a 1.9, it's pretty much 2 gigs. A 2 gig download and task takes about a half hour to install. Amnesia. Tails always starts from the same clean state, and everything you do disappears automatically when you shut down Tails. Now, we learned in a previous live episode that actually running from RAM is a secure operational option. When you run things from RAM, especially that isn't DDR3, DDR4, or cheap, inexpensive, shitty RAM, you don't have the risk of running into cold boot attacks that people think that you should worry about. And most importantly, RAM, unless you're doing this in microseconds, doesn't store enough information to de-anonymize you. And because of that, you have the ability to keep yourself much more private. Websites that you visit, even in private mode, files that you open, even if you delete them. Without Tails, almost everything you do can leave traces on the computer, and this is true. We've learned that private mode isn't really that private. And that websites you visit will track you, even if you put do not track, they do not have to follow. So if you can take Tails at face value and use it in a more secure option, basic GNU, IceCat removed, do not track, but they don't have to respect it. That's the problem. Even if a website, even if your browser sends a do not track request, they don't have to honor it. It's a false sense of security, and it's not really a based way of getting tracked. We don't have GDPR in America. We don't have a lot of ways to protect ourselves in a legal sense, so it doesn't really matter. Unless websites and the internet decide to agree on a uniform decision, it's very hard to actually build yourself a private, free and open source, decentralized or whatever, but really a private, free and open source web browser where it doesn't track you. I mean, it's kind of like you want to look like everyone else. You kind of want to be a ununique snowflake. And this goes the same for websites that delete your data. They don't have to listen. It's not required. There's no law to protect you. And because there's no law to protect you, you're kind of in the shitter. And because relatively you're in the shitter, it doesn't really matter. So what would be really based is if the government and countries and companies would respect your decision making. Wow, guys, I've given you an hour and 17 minutes of my time. Most importantly, I've given YouTube my time. So, if you comment below your favorite browser in order to protect your privacy and your sanity, you will comment your favorite browser so that YouTube knows I'm a real person. See you later, Billy. If YouTube doesn't know I'm a real person, then they will not respect me. So this is so that YouTube respects me and knows that I love all their policies and all of their values. I personally have to jump on a plane and fight Paul Bear, the guy from WrestleMania. You know, that guy. It's not a fun time, and I will be sweaty. I'll see you guys in the next video and the next live stream. Make sure to walk your snail, run your own node, and fuck Debian